anytime you want to ask a question, just don't be shy, you know. Maybe wait for a pause, but, you know, jump right in there. If you want some clarification at any point, let me know. And I'm going to hope the technology works. There we go. Contact information is all in your packet, and I'm happy to correspond or talk by phone after this with anybody here, and any time, so feel free to talk with me. I want to tell you a little bit. I have to do kind of the PR plug for Voices for America's Child, it's sort of required by the job. Voices is the nation's largest network of state and local-based multi-issue children's advocacy organizations. We have 63 members in 48 states, the District of Columbia, and Canada, the U.S. Virgin Islands. Our Florida member is the Children's Campaign of Florida. Roy Miller, who I know many of you know, is a great member. If you don't know Roy, you should get to know him. Okay. I'm not gonna read slides. I hate that. I hate people who put together PowerPoints and then just read the slides. So, but I'm gonna just touch on a few things. Earlier, our goals here are to improve your skills as an advocate for children and families. And we're going to try to develop an understanding of the different forms of advocacy, and there are many. I'm going to try to give you some tips to improve your communication skills, and you're going to get more of that as the day goes on too. But it's such an important part of being a good advocate is the message, that I want to spend a little bit more time on it than perhaps you normally would. And we're going to explore a little bit some strategies for linking social media and advocacy, because it's such an important part of the work today. You know, if I were doing this, you know, even 5 years ago, the idea that you could run an advocacy campaign on Twitter or Facebook would be, people go, what? Now people are doing it every day. I'll tell you, we, Voices, we have more people go to our Facebook page than to our regular website. Of course, you've got to post up there, you've got to keep it fresh, you've got to put up your messages. But that tells you something right there about how people use social media, where they get their information. So again, we'll define some different forms of advocacy. We'll discuss some strategies and tools. Explore differentiated audience messaging. Again, social media, and if we have a little bit of time at the end, we'll do some advocacy role play using some of what we learned today, just to hone some of your skills and make it a little bit fun. Now, what we're not going to do today, it's not a heavy policy primer today. We're not going to dive deep into the data. That's not what this is about. Do a little bit of that. You can't completely divorce the data and the research from advocacy, but this is really, today what we're really going to do is try to focus on the skills building side. Not a political primer. I'm not here to tell you how to lobby, you know, folks in Tallahassee. Not here to tell you how to deal with, you know, a city council or commission or board, and deal with, you know, the political issues around that, because I really don't know enough about those institutions to give you much, just very general information. And we're not going to spend a lot of time on sort of legal issues around advocacy, except in a very general sense. Okay. Why do this work? We're going to be advocates, we're going to hone our skills, and you've got to think about why we do this work. Obviously, we care about kids, and hopefully we care about all kids. I think that's probably the thing. I suspect if we did a poll in here, that would probably be the reason most of us are here today. Most of us do the work we do, however we're doing it. We worry about our nation's future. It's overused. It's usually used by politicians who don't want to deal with the underlying issues but want to talk and bromides. Kids are our future. You know, we got to do right by our kids. But it is true. They are our future. And if we're not doing right by our kids, the country itself is going to suffer. We worry about declining public investment. Somebody brought that up earlier today. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But nationally, and this is true, I suspect, in most states, I've seen some state data, not all of it, as a percentage of public investments in the last 20, 30 years, resources going to kids are going down, not up. We see systems change as critical. Now, it's an important point. I don't want to belabor it. But a lot of what we will address in our work, as children's advocates, is around, in specific communities, around in specific systems, local issues. But if you really think about it, whether you're doing it locally, state level, or nationally, we're not going to have the kind of impact we want, bring about the kind of broad-based changes we want without systems change. Changing these systems is critical. A better public education system, a better child care system, a better way to deliver mental health services, a better way, name it. These are all systems. These systems are embedded in the way that kids are dealt with in the country today. And if we want to have an impact, we have to bake into our advocacy, however we do it, wherever we do it, systems change. Okay. All right. So if you're not convinced that we have a problem today, and I think I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but I think it's always good to remind ourselves kind of where we're at today in this country. It's not a pretty picture. I just pulled together a few things. We've got over 20% of kids nationally under 18 living in poverty. Florida is about 24%. Now, not to go all data on you, but if you disaggregate that number and say, okay, what about kids of color? These numbers explode. We're talking about 30, 40% of African American kids today living in poverty. And very troubling for the future of this country, quite frankly, in my opinion, is that when you look at children under 5 living in poverty, that number is nationally is 25%. It's been going up. It's very scary. Okay, 4th grade reading, which is talked about a lot today. I pulled these numbers from the national test, not the state tests, which tend to be dumbed down, right? Those of you who are working in these systems know this. But they're from the National Assessment of Educational Progress, which is the national, every other year, study done by the U.S. Department of Education. Nationally, 32% of kids, when they reach 4th grade, are not reading proficient. They're not proficient. 63% in Florida. You got a problem. You got to work on that. And you're not. You're right in kind of the middle of the pack. You're number 33. Scared. It should scare us. Food hardship. What do we mean by that? USDA, Department of Agriculture, does periodically, goes out and asks people who are participating in food programs, principally SNAP, but some, food stamp programs, but others, if if there was some point in the last month when they didn't have enough resource to put a meal on the table, they call it food insecurity. I changed it to hardship, and a lot of other advocates nationally use the same term, hardship. 30% of folks in Florida said there's some point during the month they couldn't put food on the table for their kids. I just put North Dakota because they're at the top of the pack, but it's still kind of scary.